Nearly 20,000 people are released from prison each year in Missouri. They've done their time for the crime they committed and are ready to come home and make a fresh start. Unfortunately, while they're no longer behind literal bars, society still manages to place barriers in their path. Here's what that looks like. You get home to Kansas City and you don't have enough money to buy a car. Good luck getting around. You can't find a decent place to stay. Affordable housing is a big issue for a lot of people right now, let alone if you're a felon. And to top it all off, your parole officer is telling you that you need to get a job. But your resume is less than stellar, and everyone is fighting for the same entry-level positions. So too often, people fall back into their old habits. Selling crack is quick money, and these millennials here sure do love their weed. So you get a little bit of cash in your pocket, and things are beginning to look up until you get caught. Welcome back to prison. What if instead of continually throwing people behind bars for surviving the only way they know how, instead we channeled that hustle and purpose into businesses that make money and pay taxes instead of overcrowding our prisons? Good afternoon. My name is Kyle J. Smith, and I'm the founder of Determination Incorporated, a new nonprofit in Kansas City creating a pathway to opportunity for formerly incarcerated people through entrepreneurship. I've worked for the past few years as an entrepreneurial ecosystem builder here in KC. In the summer of 2017, after the Kauffman Foundation's eShip Summit, I started asking a question to people who work in and around the criminal justice system. How can entrepreneurship help to reduce recidivism? Recidivism is just a fancy word for getting out of prison and then going back. Unfortunately, Missouri has a relatively high recidivism rate. 43% of people released from prison return within 3 years. I started researching what corrections and reentry professionals know about what it takes to stop someone from going back to prison. One important part of the equation is having a job. Unfortunately, 43% of people on parole in Missouri are unemployed. Here are other factors that help people desist from crime, according to a paper from the Harvard Kennedy School. Getting older and maturing, having a family, sobriety, being a part of a community, not having a criminal identity, hope and motivation, having something to give to others, and being believed in. I think you could very easily scratch out help people desist from crime and replace with help people start a business. So that's what we did. In January of 2018, we launched Be the Boss, a business support group for formerly incarcerated people. We meet 3 times a month here in Kansas City's urban core. So far, more than 70 formerly incarcerated people have attended a workshop. In the spring of 2018, we hosted an entrepreneurship workshop at a local halfway house, and now we host a business basics workshop at the Jackson County Jail and at the Kansas City Reentry Center, a minimum security prison in the West Bottoms. And this May, we are hosting Kansas City's first entrepreneurship competition for formerly incarcerated people called Rise Up, Get Started. Through all of that, here's what I've learned so far about the power of entrepreneurship to reduce recidivism. That power is not in my hands. It's in the hands of formerly incarcerated people who want to help others, to be self-sufficient, and to take charge of their economic destinies. I could nerd out at length about reentry best practices and how the tools of entrepreneurship could help formerly incarcerated people create meaningful lives and intergenerational wealth, but we'll save that for another TED Talk. I'm here today to answer a different question. Why? Every time I tell even the shortest origin story of Determination Incorporated, it's the first question that I get. Why? Why would a young man from the Midwest, who's never spent time behind bars, choose to make this his next pursuit? My first answer is quick, and it's probably too rehearsed. Through my work in Kansas City's entrepreneurial community, I saw a lack of resources specific to people coming home from incarceration. I am sickened by the effects that mass incarceration has had on our society and so many families. It's time that we find more innovative solutions. That answer gets nods and sometimes a thumbs up, and always a follow-up question. Yeah, but why? I always know it's coming. That first answer, it's great for grant applications, but you guys want a more personal answer. You want to know where my heart for this issue comes from. So let's talk about it. My story is not as simple as I had a friend who got home from prison and couldn't catch a break. No, my story is about the self-made prisons that we all build within ourselves and our communities. I grew up in a small rural town in Missouri, and I enjoyed my childhood very much. I appreciate the community and the family that raised me. I have 2 siblings. Oh, wow, that is a terrible picture. There we go. I have 2 siblings. We're very close in age, and they're both doctors. We get our can-do-it attitude from our mom, and I've always known that I have 2 dads. One is my adopted father. He's shorter than the rest of us. And the other passed away when I was a baby. If you had asked me growing up how my father passed away, I would have said, a heart thing. I was 18 years old when I found out for the first time what a heart thing really meant. And I'll never forget that night. My sister told me a friend at school had told her she knew how our father passed away, and I was shocked. I laid on the floor crying until I could build up the courage to go to my parents' bedroom. I wept at my mom's bedside table until I was able to whisper my question. Mommy, did Dad kill himself? She pulled me close and whispered the answer. Yes, son. I'm so sorry. My father, the living one, gathered my brother and sister and I in the living room and laid it all out there as my mom wept in her bed. When you boys were just babies and your mom was still pregnant with your sister, your father took his own life. He loved you so much, and we'll never know why he made that decision. That night, we all cried ourselves to sleep, if we slept at all. And I can still feel that pain. It sits right here, and it only takes a quiet moment and a thought to fill my head with hurt as I wail in shame. It's funny how our brains trap us. And yeah, of course, by that, I mean frustrating as hell. My mother made an unusual decision by not telling us about the circumstances of our dad's passing early. Did she make the wrong decision? Probably not. I could weigh the pros and cons endlessly in my head. Adjudicating my dad's decision to take his own life is easier somehow. He made a mistake. He made a selfish, grave mistake. Was that mistake his fault? I don't know the answer to that. I do know that his brain was not on his side the day that he committed suicide. Anxiety and depression were his prison, and he never made it out, robbing my brother, my sister, and I of ever getting to know our dad. I've seen so many pictures of his smiling face, and I've heard so many stories about how smart and caring he was. But I'll never hear his voice, I'll never hold his hand, and I'll never get to feel the warmth of his heart or get to see his stunning brain in action. Or maybe I have. Maybe his heart is my sister's as she cares for her patients in the emergency room. His hands are my brother's as he holds our young nephews, and his voice is mine as I speak to you now. I'm constantly turning this story over and over in my head, searching for answers and for meaning. But maybe I'm looking in the wrong place. What if the meaning isn't in the story, it's in what we do with it? What if what we learn from a story is the only answer? This story has taught me a lot. It's taught me to take care of myself and to give others the space and the tools to do the same. This story has taught me to ask others for help and to strive for positive change in our world. Every life, and every business for that matter, is built on a set of values. This story gives me the strength and the bravery to live a life aligned with my values. Those values also make up the foundation of Determination Incorporated. Those values are community. Community is key. We are better connected. Hard work is what a meaningful life is built on. Uncomfortable transparency builds trust and holds us to an exceptional standard. Love is our driving force. By putting others before ourselves, we all win. We believe in the healing power of grace, and hope is a human right. We started Determination Incorporated to help others lead lives aligned with their values, and to help formerly incarcerated people build businesses that improve their life, their family, and the community. We're just getting started, but you're going to want to keep an eye on this crew. This is my co-founder, Johnny. When Johnny got out of prison, he started a cleaning business and ran it for 7 years. Then he went to get his education and recently graduated with his master's in management from Rockhurst University. I'd like to introduce you to a few of our students. This is Dion. Dion has a full-time job, and on the side helps his family run a few businesses. One is a catering business, they have a salon, and he's a landlord. This is Teresa. Teresa has a heart for helping people preserve their precious memories, and she plans to open a scrapbook store in Independence, Missouri. And this is Fred. When Fred was in prison, he fought his case from the inside, and he's written a book to help currently incarcerated people and their families know what to prepare before they're appointed a lawyer. Determination Incorporated is a startup nonprofit, but our vision is bold. Prisons and jails will become grad schools for the world's most impactful leaders. And formerly incarcerated people, by starting viable hiring businesses, will help to solve the problem of recidivism and ultimately end mass incarceration. We can't do that without you. It's going to take all of us to change the world in ways big and small. And that's the heart of an entrepreneur. Yes, entrepreneurship is starting a business, but more essentially, entrepreneurship is self-determination. Entrepreneurship is doing everything in your power to change the world from how it is to how it should be. How do you think our world should be? I believe we should live in a world where everyone has the right and the ability to love and live at their fullest. And like I said, we can't do that without you. We can't do that without you believing in yourself. Because if you don't believe in your own power to leave the world better than you found it, how can you believe in others? Believing that your story is powerful and beautiful, that's where change starts. Change starts when each of us reaches beyond the bars that we put up between ourselves and others and work together to dismantle the systems that centuries of human pride and fear have left in their wake. Change starts when you reach out a hand to help those in need, and with hands held, listen to how the world looks through their eyes. Change starts when you look for opportunities to learn and grow. I encourage you to volunteer at local reentry organizations, talk to your elected officials about criminal justice reform, and follow and support journalism outfits that are shining light into the darkness. It's going to take a lot of work to change the world. I'm honored to get to do that work with each and every one of you. If we're not careful, it may be fun. We may uncover the joy that is at the root of being human. We may laugh, and we will definitely cry, and together we will live. Thank you.